Alright, back here at Okanita Wrecking Yard. We made a tough decision to cut the battery tray out. The rust under it was just worse than we'd hoped and impossible to get to. So as you will now see, we are certainly glad we decided to get into this. So we're going to clean this up and weld back the top part of this battery tray, and hopefully this will last another 40 years. Keep going, Mac. This one corner here is really all we lack to get this sucker on the road.
Ta-da!
Yep. And of course, as is so often the case with these old trucks, the deeper you go, the worse it gets. So we've got some reconstruction to do here. Still got some rust to cut out. Oh. Alright. We've got most of this patched up. Some pretty rough spots. We've still got some grinding and a few other little patches to put in. But now we can start making our battery tray to go in here. Interesting bit of information. This actually came from our old satellite dish, which is surprisingly heavy metal. And I wish we could paint the whole truck with this. This is the toughest finish I believe I've ever seen. The wire brush wouldn't touch it. It just kind of scratched it up. This must be powder coat or something. But we had to use the grinder to get this down to where we could weld it. Yeah, that's good metal. Better than this stuff here that we've been using for most. This is like 20 gauge, maybe. Yeah, it's heavier than 22, but not quite 18, so 20 gauge. This is probably 18. So, moving right along. And now, we have a very primitive, albeit sturdy, galvanized battery tray. We just got to kind of weld this up. We've got a bracket welded in here. We got to paint all this up. Of course, we'll bed line it like we've been doing everything. Same with this. We'll probably get one of them fancy rubber mats to put under the battery here. We'll drill a hole here and here for our hold down. This will be welded to the bracket, spot welded here. So, all right. Now we can move along to something else. Got it painted. Sprayed some bed liner over it. Yeah, it looks better than it did. It's still pretty rough, huh? You're the last ones that'll ever see this, so it's all good. Here's the bottom of our battery tray. I got my holes drilled for my spot welds. I bed lined the bottom of this too after I painted it. My little ridges there for strength didn't turn out too bad. Of course, the next ones will look better. That's the way it always works. But give us a little bit to dry, and I'll flip this over and put it in and mark my welds and drill those and get this thing welded in. I hope this bed liner stuff doesn't catch on fire. So if you never hear from me again, you'll know why. Put this in the sun so it'll dry a little faster. Our old welding table's about shot here. We've had to revert to using the frame. While we're here, we found these ugly, horrible, rusty spots here on these seams. It's on both sides of this spare tire carrier. I would like to cut this whole thing off. It's the worst part of the truck. I don't guess we will. We got all that scale off and paint it and bed line it and try to get inside there and weld these holes up. We'll see. Probably take that whole hoist mechanism out, so maybe we can get up in there and clean some of that rust out. Mac went wild and took all the exhaust off. He ordered a pace setter header after we worked on the manifold for an hour. Where is that thing? There's the collector pipe. Yeah, here's the manifold, which he cleaned it up a little bit, but the big thing, all these studs, of course, were stuck. One of them was terribly stuck, and we spent quite a bit of time on it. We welded the nut on and soaked it and let it set a while. Finally got it out, so. And then he decides to go order a header. And we cut these EGR and warm air tubes off. He's going to weld that up. So if anybody needs an exhaust manifold for a 720 Datsun, we have a couple. Need to clean the shop up. Here's another project I've been working on. Not to get off the subject, but this was what I did all day, every day for a while, till we bought this truck. There's the first guitar I ever made. Still plays. Alright, enough of that. Through the magic of the internet, it's all done. Still not pretty, but you'll still not see it. So the battery looks a lot better. I'm gonna let this rust barrier stuff dry, and then I'll probably bed line this too. And then we got to work on this mess. Take this apart, clean it all up, paint it. That was a coral next to all this new stuff. And something else I was going to say. Yeah, I have to drill holes here for those to hook on. So, alright. When we bought this truck, I couldn't even weld. Now I'm making battery boxes. And finally, this is done. Battery reinstalled with the original hold down. And our homemade battery box sitting on there, patched up. Fender well. All rust is gone. Holes are patched up. So we still have a little patched up work to do here. And then we can paint that side to match that side. And we can get these fenders back on. Get the hood on. Get the doors on. But next, we're going to reupholster the seat. So that will be the next video. And this will be the end of the battery. Battery.